know who's a freaking awesome loan officer? Ernest and Martinez. There is no one else in League City in the whole South Texas area that can compete with the Martinez mortgage team. It's absolutely amazing. I've been blessed for the past 2 years to know these guys, and every single day they just amaze me. Michelle and Ernest, I appreciate you guys coming on today. Having a good day?
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting us.
No problem. You guys realize how awesome I know you are. We visit all the time. We talk frequently. I try and get down to your office as much as I humanly possibly can. The idea behind this was brought to us by your peers, your brothers and sisters out there in Hancock Mortgage Land that wanted to know more about each one of the people in their family. So there's things that I know about our guys that nobody else does, and I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to let everybody know what that is. So we've got a series of about 9 questions that I asked you to try and find out who you guys are and how you operate as a team, and it's something that we need to let everybody know just how freaking awesome you guys are. So you ready to delve into this?
We're ready.
All right. Here's one that I know is going to be a tough one for, especially for Ernest to answer, because he's probably one of the most humble men I've ever met in my life. And I don't think that he would ever say one braggadocious thing, but I know who he is, and his customers know who he is, and above all else, Michelle Martinez knows who he is. What makes you stand out from other loan officers?
One, I think it has to do with got 20 years of experience. That's one. And 2 is my work ethic. I truly, truly love what I do, and I love helping people get into homes. I think that's just a satisfying feeling that you get when you're at the closing table.
I completely agree with you. The whole reason I got into this business was a bad experience from my first closing, my first home buying experience. And I always said when I got into this business, I would do everything I could to make sure that the other first-time home buyers wouldn't have to experience that same garbage and mess. Do you feel the same way? Is that something that drove you?
I totally agree. We bought 2 houses already?
Yes.
Yeah, and our first one, we were very young and wasn't in the business at the time, so it was an experience. Just pretty much whatever they say we do. The second go round, we were a little bit more experienced, and we just made sure that it was an easy process. So same thing. I want our customers to feel like it was a good thing for them. And the reason why I say that is because it's a referral business. So we get a lot of referrals from our past customers. So I know that that's how we continue moving forward in the future.
Michelle, I got a question for you. So on that experience, going off of you weren't in the business the first home you bought, you weren't in the business the second home you bought, but you were in the business somewhat. Now you're in the business. You've been in the business for about 2 years now. Even though you were in the business before through Ernest, tell me what it is, because I know you work with the customers extremely tightly. You work with them every single day. Tell me what it does for you and how you set yourself apart when it comes to helping those customers, not only for Ernest, not only for your branch, but for all of the loan officers inside of your system, and as far as I'm concerned, all of the loan officers throughout Hancock. You're a rock. You're a piece of stability for the whole system. Give me a little bit about that.
Making sure that the customer is comfortable, that they know from day one that their loan officer, our team, Hancock Mortgage, is going to be there with them from day one all the way to closing. It's important that they know they can call and ask any question, no matter how little or small. A lot of times people are scared to ask because they think, oh, they're going to think I don't know anything. Our process, our people are compassionate, loyal, wholehearted people who their goal is to help make the process as smooth as possible. and we are there from the beginning all the way to the end. If we can't make a closing, one of our LOs will, and that's throughout Hancock Mortgage. It's our dedication to be there for them 100%.
Now, there's one thing that I notice on that point that I notice that you do above and beyond anyone else that I see in this business. So you've got a specific, or at least one or two specific Facebook pages that you stay in contact with all of your referral partners. The other thing that I see that you do that is just, it pulls on my heartstrings is the fact that, for a lack of a better term, you pimp out your loan officers. And what I mean by that, just to be clear, is what I see you do is advertise for any realtor that may feel uncomfortable sitting in an open house this weekend by themselves or just wanting company. You offer up your loan officers. You give the information out on these Facebook pages, letting people know, hey, Ernest is going to be at an open house from this time to this time, but Kevin can be there, Ernesto can be there, one of those kind of things. And that's one of those things, every time I see it, it just makes my heart smile. Will you tell me something about that?
Well, I try very hard to make it that we communicate with the public, not just the realtors and our customers, but I want to know anyone out there who's looking for a home. I want them to know that we're available for them 24/7. And it's my goal to, as you said, pimp out my LOs. I try very hard to advertise, market, let people know who they are, because they are an amazing group of guys that are totally 100% committed and are always willing to be there for their customer, their preferred realtors, the new realtors that are coming in the business that might not feel comfortable or know a lot about the mortgage business. Our LOs are there to help them grow, help their business grow, because again, it's about referrals. It's about making people trust us and feel comfortable with us.
It's about partnership.
It's about a partnership.
Agree. Now, please tell me, keep this in, when Ernest got the huge smile on his face when Michelle said, pimp out my LOs. All right. Ernest, next question.
Mm-hmm.
What technology do you love using that Hancock Mortgage Partners has provided?
We use the Hot Homes, the Facebook ads. We have about, nine communities that we're advertising on right now that gives us a bunch of leads that we know that we can make something out of it. We give them to our realtors to work, and we also work them ourselves. So that's one that we really use. The other one's Listing Booster. We use Listing Booster as well. And the Perpetual Machine is a good one too that I think that we really need to get more involved in that program as well.
I'm going to agree with you completely on the Hot Homes pages. I know of no other mortgage company that truly goes out of their way to help and bring more business into this business and then turns that business over. We're not a real estate company. We're not licensed to be in the real estate business. So we have to have real estate referral partners to be able to hand these pre-qualified purchase money leads over to. You guys do such an amazing job with that. I have to give you kudos. And just so you know, I travel all over the country talking in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of real estate agents at a time. And I use you guys as a benchmark for the system that you put in place. So you do such an awesome job. You're known nationwide.
Thank you.
So what changes are you going to do to increase leads in the next quarter for your branch and your referral partners as we go into this new buying season?
Good question. Probably continue doing what we're doing. What we do is we kind of change it up a little bit on our Hot Homes pages to see what's the best way of turning these leads into loans. And we've changed a couple of things, and it's worked. So I think by tweaking that a little bit more, I think we'll be able to get more applications, more customers.
To me, it's stressing the 333 process. It's really important that not only the loan officer who makes the first call or the LOA who makes the first call, but it's also that our realtor who receives the lead after we've made calls continues with the 333 process. That's the only way that they're going to be successful, is if you continue with the process that's working. It works. It's helped us gain business. And I feel like if everybody worked it that way, then we'd be even more successful. And to give a lead to an LO and then have them call, do the 333, and then switch it over and give it to another LO, because it's about a connection. The first LO might have not had a connection, but the second one will. So you don't want to give up a lead just because one LO said, oh, they're not interested or this, or, you want to make sure that in 2 to 3 days, give it to another LO and make them call, make them do the 333. And believe me, you're gonna get the business. Don't give up.
Agree. There's two things that I took from what you just said. First of all, you're the first one to change up your system that I remember in this system to where you were working the leads immediately yourself, and I got such a kick out of it. If I remember correctly, I think your penetration or conversion was somewhere around 30-35% in that first weekend when you started doing this. So that's something that I remember, and I will remember for a long, long time. The next thing that I heard you say was whether these leads are good or not. And that's one thing where I just absolutely don't understand it. I laugh and cry at the same time, because we know these leads are good. We know somebody is double opting in and giving us their information and telling us that they want to live in a community, telling us that they want to be part in a lifestyle inside of this community. Why people can't convert these and why people can't make a phone call or a text message just baffles me. Do you have any ideas on that one?
I think they give up too easily. If the phone number's bad, then they automatically drop the lead. They don't bother to send an email. To me, you need to follow up. The phone number's bad, send them an email and send them listings. You got to give them something, make them interested, so that then they want to reach out to you. And then after you receive an email, then you tell them, well, I tried to send you a text message with a little bit more information. This is the number I have. What is your correct number? They're going to give you the right number. And then you can do that one-on-one conversation with them over the phone. Once they get to know a little bit more about you and you make it a little personable, that's all they want, is someone to talk to, someone to give them information, and don't always go directly into a mortgage. They don't want a mortgage. They're looking for a house.
No one wants a mortgage. That's one of the biggest points of this. I laugh what you say about the phone numbers being good. Chad and I did a test on this. We were getting some leads in that people were naturally putting in one, then the area code and the phone number, and there wasn't enough spaces. So what we would end up with is, let's say here in Houston, 281 is a normal area code. So we would get a phone number that was 128, and then it would start again with 1. And all we had to do was put in, there's only 9 numbers. There's only 9 numbers total, or I guess 10 if you count 0, on that last number, trying to figure out what it was. And it just so happened on this one lead, the last number was 4. So it took 4 tries to find the right number inside of this amazing tool. If you haven't heard of it, it's called the Googler. And you can put phone numbers in it. It'll tell you who they belong to. An amazing tool. So I laugh when you say that about the phone numbers. Ernest, what is it that you love most about being a loan officer?
Like I said earlier, it's about helping people. It's about the joy of seeing how happy they are when they get that home, whether it's first-time home buyers or move-up, customers. That part of it. Let's be honest. Our jobs are stressful, but it's also how would you say it?
It's rewarding.
We don't have a strict schedule. We've got to be there from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. We pretty much have our own schedule, but we do work a lot of hours, but again, it's just the satisfaction of seeing a happy person.
I completely agree with you. That's one of the things that so I thought it was going to be much tougher for you because I know how humble you are. But when you were answering the question, it's not about you. It's about your customers. It's about your family. It's about your team. Everything that you say, everything that you do is about that. So as you were answering that, it was much easier for me to put together and understand that. But I think that's one thing that people don't understand in this business. It is a hard business. It is a stressful business. But I will tell you this, I'll do this any day over digging a ditch. I'll do this any day over working in a coal mine. Nothing against either one of those professions, but it's not something that I could do. I don't have that ability to do that. So it's okay to go the extra mile and do things that are unheard of for your customer because we are appreciative in this business.
I agree. Sometimes you have customers who don't qualify. And that's also another satisfaction that we like is we help them get ready. And we tell them it may take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year to get ready. But if they just do what they're supposed to do, then we'll get them in a home. And that's what we tell them. You know, it might be a no today, but it'll be a yes sometime soon. And you'll be a homeowner. Mm-hmm. And we've done that several times.
So we have our process of the 3 month, the 7 month, and the 9 month. And we stay in connection with them, and as long as they follow the process, then in 3 months, 7 months, or 9 months, we're celebrating that they not only accomplished getting whatever was holding them back, whether it be funds or whether it be credit, whatever was holding them back, they conquered it. And now they're sitting at a table signing papers for a home that they never thought they would have ever been able to have. They just needed a team to lead them in the right direction.
I think having a home, a true place of your own, does things for families that people can't understand unless you are a homeowner, unless you are part of that fabric of a community. I think it's hard for some people to understand, and I think that there's a tremendous amount of people out there that not only have the ability, that they've earned it, that need to get into that home, that stability, that community. I think it's something that is desperately needed in certain places in this country. And I know that you guys are just kicking ass to make it happen, not only in your part of the country, but you're licensed in the whole state of Texas. I know that you guys will take care of somebody, no matter where they're at inside of the boundaries of Texas.
Exactly.
That's
we just
correct.
had a closing in San Antonio, and we're thrilled to death about that. And again, we try to make all closings, so it's important to us. It's important to us to be there for them all the time.
For those people who don't understand the geography between League City, Texas and San Antonio, Texas, what would you guess that is, about 260, 270 miles, something like that?
About it.
So we're talking about going not only from the coast to central Texas, almost getting into the hill country,
Yes.
kind of thing. So that, to me, that's a big deal. That's not only community, we're still in the same state, but that's a big deal. That's 270 miles away that you guys did. That's amazing. Do you have any advice or tips to help other loan officers out there that may either be struggling or not necessarily in what I consider the highest caliber like you guys and your team is? So what tips would you give somebody who may be on a bad team, maybe a loan officer that doesn't have any guidance, any mentorship, anything like that? What would you tell that person?
First of all, you want to have a good mentor, coach, manager, someone that's going to help you get to that next level. Another thing is don't give up. It's a very hard business, like we spoke about earlier. Training, reading books, just all of that. It's what's going to help you get to that next level.
ask questions with the company that you're at, whether it be Hancock or another company. Ask questions, see what kind of training they offer at their corporate office. I know we're blessed because Hancock offers training from all levels, to the processing, to the closing, to the underwriting, to our LOs. We are constantly learning. The knowledge is so important. And also remember that don't think of the paycheck. You think about how many people you're helping, and the paycheck will come. So don't think of, oh, I need a bill, I need to pay bills, I need a check this month. You just focus on how many lives can I change this month, and you will be amazed at how successful you will be.
You know, one of the things I was told a long time ago by one of my mentors in this business, and it's an analogy very much what you just said. Now, luckily this person rode motorcycles also, so it made it easier for me to understand. And if you guys have ever rode a motorcycle, you'll understand this. When you're riding a motorcycle, if you look directly in front of you at what's happening right now, you will most likely crash. But if you look down the road to where you're going, then you'll be safe, you'll make those curves, everything will work out well. So that's one of the things that I see with your team. Now, one of the things that you guys may take advantage of, or you guys may take for granted, is I'm watching you guys as a team. So if I was a loan officer and it was me and a manager, or just a manager and a bunch of loan officers, one thing that person is missing is they don't have the support staff that you get with the Martinez team. They don't have Michelle making sure that everything is taken care of. They don't have the processing. They don't have that team with a father leading that team together. And I think there's a lot of people who miss out on something by not being able to work inside of a true team. If it's just a manager and some loan officers, to me that's not necessarily a team. That's almost a frat party. One thing that I want to get across in this is the amazing team that you guys have put together, and you make it so incredible for your loan officers. That needs to get out there. People need to know that about you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this question is something that I didn't like. It was put inside of this questionnaire by the people who designed this. I wanted to pull it out, and I was told I was not allowed to pull it out. I think it's very self-fulfilling, and I don't really care for it, but I have to ask it anyway.
Okay.
What do you love about working at Hancock Mortgage Partners?
That's an easy one. Hancock Mortgage, when they say a family-oriented company, that's what Hancock Mortgage is. We feel like that all the time. I mean, I can call Mr. Hancock right now on his cell phone. He probably will answer the phone. HR, anybody, payroll, compliance. I just love it. They're just awesome. The whole company is awesome. Everyone that works for Hancock is just easy, accessible. What else?
If you have a problem, you call them, and they're always there to help resolve it.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to make that better? Or what can we do to help you increase your business? And again, the training that they offer is just 100% top notch. You're going to know every policy that's changed. You're going to know when it happens. You're not going to know months down the line. They keep us updated so that our loans close on time, smooth selling, and when we get audited, we have no issues.
And kudos to Johnny, to you. You set up teams, which kind of helps us figure out how to go to the next level, which I love that. Mm-hmm. Marketing or whatever it takes. I mean, I'll give you kudos for that.
Thank you, but I wish you wouldn't. One thing that I heard you say, and that I take advantage of it, and sometimes I take it for granted, that we have, and it's in the way that the system was built, is you guys aren't allowed to talk to underwriters or processors or closers or anybody, right? You're not allowed to talk to them?
Not true.
We can talk to anybody at any time. Any question we have, they answer. And if they don't answer, they'll send you an email and say, I'm on the other line. I'll call you right back. But you will hear from them before the day's up.
we love our underwriter.
We love our underwriters. We love our closing department.
Awesome.
If our underwriter goes on vacation, I know I can hand my files over to another underwriter, and it's going to be handled the exact same way because we're all trained the same way. And that right there, you don't get everywhere.
I agree. It's amazing. One of the things that I hear every day talking to new people wanting to come on is that they're not allowed to talk to the underwriter. They're not allowed to talk to anybody except for the underwriting manager, something along those lines. They're never allowed to talk to the closer, and that is so foreign to Hancock and the people who are here that it's very strange to hear.
You know, Johnny, this is the way I explain it to my referral partners and also to new LOs. They're wheels. You know, I train our loan officers to do the loans correctly. You know, so when they submit it to the processing department, which is another wheel, which have an awesome processor, she makes sure everything's dotted and crossed before it goes to underwriting. And then, of course, our underwriter is awesome. That's another wheel, and that one's working just as well. And, of course, we got our final wheel, which is our closing department, and our closing department is top-notch. So in other companies, one of those wheels is not working, okay? Here at Hancock, all the wheels are working. I mean, it's just, to me, like I tell my wife, I've been doing this for a lot of years, and there's always that one wheel that can make a loan very hard, can make it very stressful for you. But I tell her all the time, when those wheels are working, it just makes it so smooth.
Agree completely. I bought a little lake house here a few weeks ago, and I got to see it for the first time from the customer's perspective, sitting in front of a title company that I had no idea who the title people were, anything along those lines. And it was so rewarding, I guess I should say, to be sitting at the closing table, and when we were finished signing papers, to watch the closer roll her eyes and say, let me go see if funds are here so we can at least fund this thing. Let me go see. And to be able to say, the funds have been here for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me, and I said, the funds were sent at the same time the docs were sent, and they were sent 3 days ago. And she looked at me and she said, how do you know? And I said, that's just how we do business. And lo and behold, she goes to ask the closing manager of the title company, and she said, oh yeah, the funds have been here. We've already done wiring instructions. We just need to send in the documents, and it's ready to fund now. And just the look on her face, and talking to her afterwards about how so many other companies, she has to fight to fund the loan. And then she's the one that's stuck in the middle between the realtors wanting their money, between the owner or the seller wanting his money, the owner wanting his keys. She's the one who has to sit and argue and fight and go through this. And she honestly looked at me and she said, in 40 years, I've never had a closing this smoothly ever. And it was a really good feeling from being, from the cheap seats, seeing how we really work, while sitting there. Because
they're amazing. We had a closing that was at 6 o'clock in the evening, and they were telling us, well, we won't be able to fund until tomorrow. And I'm like, why? The money's here. And they're like, well, your closing department won't be there. And I said, they're not leaving until I send them an email saying we're done. And we closed that evening, and they were very, very surprised.
It's a good feeling sitting at the closing table and walking out and telling them you'll have funds within 30 minutes or something like that, where you're not scared. You're like, oh, I hope some doesn't go wrong. It's just a great feeling. Congratulate them, because the last thing they're going to remember is at the signing and the loan being funded. So it's just awesome.
One of the things that I brag about all the time, and you guys will agree with me on this one, I'm sure, is for the first time in my career, for almost the past 5 years, this is the only time and the only place that the end of the month is the same thing as the beginning of the month. There is no difference. You don't have to stress and worry about docs being there, about loans closing, about people answering their phone, about the wire being there, things like that. There's no difference between the 29th of the month or the 5th of the month, in my opinion.
No.
So true. So true. I mean, here we are, the first day of the month, and not even stressing.
Agree. So, what is one obstacle that you've had to overcome as a loan officer? That's a tough one.
As his wife, I can say it's him always feeling like he's got to, you're not going to please everybody. You know, you are going to have some deals that no matter how hard you try won't work. They're going to be one of those that you have to push back a 3-month, a 7-month, a 9-month. He focuses and he tries really, really hard to make every deal possible. And sometimes you just can't. And for him, that's hard because his goal is to help everybody who applies with him, every single person.
That's such a great point. And I think, I know for me, when I was a new loan officer, that I remember having that, and I'm not saying you're new at all, but I remember as a new loan officer that I thought every application was a loan. And I remember holding on to loans for way too long, trying to drag people across the finish line. And the only reason for me is to help these people get into a home. And you bring up a really good point. That's something that just struck with me from 24 years ago.
Mm-hmm. It's a passion for him. It's been his passion since day one, and it's still his passion today. And that's why his success rate is huge, because if it can happen, he will make it happen. And his goal is to help anybody and everybody, and he'll figure it out. Like I said, if it's not today, it will be tomorrow.
Michelle, just between you and I, do you think because what you guys have built as a family in your community, I love watching the videos, I love watching the pictures. I think that Ernest has a fourth limb that is a barbecue pit because he seems to always be attached to that. Do you think that Ernest's passion and drive is because he wants others to have the same experience that he has, kind of thing?
Definitely. And not just the customers, he wants them to have the experience of the smooth closing, the remembering this is a great thing. You can go to our Facebook page and see some of the comments, and people will say, you know, I've heard horror stories about purchasing a home, and your team definitely made it where it was not. It was a lot different than what they were expecting. His passion for the business travels to his LOs. He wants them to have the same experience, the same fulfillment, and they do that because they're trained the way. I mean, who else to mention you but someone who's been in the business 20 years?
And that's what I was just about to talk about was my LOs. You know, having this knowledge, you want to give it, and you want to pass it on. So my LOs, they wouldn't say I'm strict, but I'm a checklist person, and they know they got to follow it, and if they follow it, their loan's going to close on time. But I make it fun. You know, we try and see who all is going to make 100. When they bring the file for me to review before it goes into processing, then, you know, we'll have that game, and I tell you what, they've been winning, so that's a good thing.
Wait, did I just hear you say that you review every file that comes through your office?
Correct, I sure do.
So, as a loan officer, if I'm not sure about something, I could actually come to you. If I have a file that I'm not positive how to put together, that if I have a file that I just don't want to get beat up by underwriting, by processing, every one of them go through you. So you're going to help me put my files together and teach me how to build a better file so when it goes on to operations, I don't look like a moron?
Absolutely correct. Again, you know, that's the big thing about our office is it comes to us, and I review it, and I'll help them structure it, and then they'll go back and they'll look at it. But you know, we're a team. It's all about team, and my LOs, I want them to know every part of it. Okay, and they even sit with Michelle, and that way they have an idea of what she does and what's all happening on that side. So that way they have an idea of a time frame of it going before it goes to the underwriter or the whole thing, because sometimes they think they give the file to Michelle and they're done, and when can we close? No, there's a lot of moving parts that she does, a lot of reports that she has to do, and she'll come back with some questions, and we're like, where'd this come from?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's to me, helping them makes us a team, and it makes them a better LO.
One thing I want to stress, and I'm hoping that your customers watch this video, and I'm hoping that your customers pay attention to this part. This is where we need to put flashing lights in here, is that this doesn't happen in other mortgage companies, and I'll explain to you why. In our business and the rules and regulations that have been placed on us, Ernest does not put food on the table unless Ernest himself personally is closing loans. So it is in Ernest's best interest to only pay attention to his loans that are closing, or else he doesn't put food on the table. So for this man to take time that makes him absolutely no money, that does nothing but steals time from him, to take that time to train and help a loan officer and make sure that their loan gets to the closing table on time, that's almost unheard of in this business. That is a huge thing. You've got to think about that. It's something that may take him 30 minutes or even an hour, but he's doing it at the cost of not doing any business for himself to put food on his table for that amount of time. That's a huge thing. I hope you understand the depth of how that goes, because that's just not done in this business. Did you always want to be a mortgage loan officer? And if so, why? If not, what were you pursuing before this? This is actually one of my favorite questions, because nobody ever was 5 years old and said, I want to grow up and be in the mortgage business. And I absolutely love this question more than any others.
I've been in consumer lending business since 19 years old. Ran a branch, ran a district. The company merged, and we were in Harlingen when this happened, and a friend of mine opened up a mortgage company and says, hey, here you go, it's self-employed, top of a job, but you've been doing home equity loans, so you should have an idea. This was 20 years ago. So like, sure, why not? Let's give it a try. We were one of the, I wouldn't say original lending tree lenders, but we were one of the beginning of that part of it. It was fun. So that's kind of how I started. And then ever since then, I can't see doing anything else, to tell you the truth.
I wanted him to be a chemical engineer, but that didn't happen. He loves numbers. I was gonna say, you gotta understand. He's a mathematics person like you wouldn't believe. So this profession actually works out really well for him.
And there's probably less of a chance of him blowing up doing mortgages than being a chemical engineer.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
What is one piece of advice you would give to someone looking to purchase, let's say maybe their first home, their move-up home, their retirement home? You pick, but what's one piece of advice you would give if you were sitting across the table from somebody saying, I'm just looking towards you for advice on purchasing my first home?
Good question. Let's see. I think probably having them sit down and talk to a loan officer that pretty much understands what they're wanting, because there's all kinds of programs out there, and understanding what they want, asking questions on what's their future. Are they looking at a 15-year, 30-year? Just kind of getting the whole picture of it. And I think that might be the important part, or something to tell them, is to talk to a knowledgeable, experienced loan officer to explain their whole deal.
I think a lot of people have the misconception of, oh, a loan officer, I don't want a loan right now. No, that's not what it's all about. It's about talking to the individual who knows the most about how to get you ready. The realtor does not know how to get you ready. They know about the home, they know locations, they can tell you what's a good school zone, what's a bad school zone. But your loan officer, if you've got a really good one, they're going to sit down with you and they're going to tell you what's the process to get you ready. And even if you're not ready now, even if you're talking about buying a home in a year or two, you really need to sit down, take advantage of the free consultations that they offer, let them see your stuff to get you ready. Don't wait till your lease is up in 30 days and think a miracle is going to happen, because you need time, and time is precious. So take advantage of it. It's free consultation.
Great advice. Great advice. That's something that is so necessary, and if people would understand from the very beginning, and one of the things that I can promise you is you do not get that in an automated loan system.
No.
You do not get that when you go on to a missile loan system, fill out to a person that may have been in the business for a couple days, and you're not going to get that advice. You're not going to get that help. It's not going to be there. And I know for a fact with you guys and your team that you put together, that's something that's just standard operating procedure.
We're always there to answer questions, even if you choose not to purchase a house now, or after you hear what they have to say, the good or the bad or the ugly. We're giving you the knowledge of what you need to do, and my team is ready to help anybody and everybody at any time.
Whether it's nighttime, Saturdays, Sundays. We're
you're going to get that at Hancock Mortgage. You think of a question. You and your wife sitting at dinner at 8 o'clock at night, and you think of something. Oh, I forgot to ask him this. Well, we got to wait till tomorrow at 9 o'clock. No, you can call our team. They'll answer you right then and there, so you have time to ponder over it.
I love hearing that ownership. That's something that every time you say it, I can feel the hair stand up on my arms. My team, my team, my team. And it's that ownership that you just don't get anywhere else. It's so refreshing for me to hear. I absolutely love that. And that kind of leads us into this next and last question. This is the question that I always do. That's the Bryant Gumbel question, the one that's the gonna get you kind of deal. And I have the benefit of knowing you guys, of spending time with you, of breaking bread with you, of working with you, which makes me the luckiest guy in the world. But Ernest, looking you dead straight in the eye, tell me about your family.
My family's wonderful. That's why I work hard. Have a beautiful wife. We've been going on 31 years this June. We have 4 children. Our youngest is 20. Our oldest, which is also a loan officer, and a good one too. My daughter, she's going to dental school. We've got about another year left. And Stevan, he's in Miami right now. Finished at St. Thomas University this year. So we're a close family, very, very close family. We love each other. We do a lot of things together. What else, honey? I mean,
one of the things that I can say is there is no way, as much as I love my family, and I promise you, you don't love yours any more than I do, I cannot imagine working with every member of my family almost inside of the same office. Tell me what that's like.
You know, a lot of people ask, how can you work with your wife? 7 days a week, pretty much, 24/7. And you know what? We do. We love our company. We laugh.
Our daughter says we're not normal, but I know we are.
A lot of people say that.
If I'm not there and I'm out and about marketing, when I get back, he's like, I missed you. My daughter-in-law laughs. She says, Mom, if you're sick, and she says, it's just not the same. And then I get there and it's like everybody's back to normal. It's like, okay, everybody's in the office. We're good. If our LOs, when you join our team, you join the Martinez family. That's just the way it works. Kevin is an amazing LO that has learned so much, is very, very knowledgeable, and he calls us Mom and Dad. And he's definitely a grown man, but he'll say, I'm going to go ask Dad, or I'm going to go tell Mom, and that's the way our office is. And I love it. I love that because that just means he feels at home.
Yeah, I was wondering how long it was going to take me until Kevin changed his last name to Martinez. You know, there's no way. It is near and dear, and how much I love and appreciate my wife. If we worked together, we would make an awesome series on Criminal Minds, something along those lines. I would get the worst of it. I know that would happen. I would be the one that the episode would be about. But watching you guys and watching not only Ernest and Ernesto and Michelle and Marie and everybody that's in the family working together, it's kind of, I want to say, a dream or a fantasy of a lot of hours that are looking for the cheap seats in. So you guys working together as a family is just something that's awe-inspiring, and I think a lot of us should work harder to achieve those things.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you guys very much for being part of this. Now you understand why I say, you know who's a freaking awesome loan officer? The Martinez branch is an awesome loan officer. They operate as one unit. They process, they underwrite, they take care of everything. They take care of their customers more than anyone else in their area. You owe it to yourself to reach out and talk to the Martinez team in League City of Hancock Mortgage Partners. I know for me, I'm blessed to be able to work with them, to call them colleagues, and I absolutely adore them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I adore
you.
you.
That was awesome.
Pretty good?
Yeah.